If you're new here, I'm Allie. I'm a fiance, a women's coach, and a student. And I'd like to do a video today on the pressure that women face to work, how unrewarding it can be, how unfulfilling it can be, and how it can put certain elements of life that are very important to women on the back burner. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit apprehensive about discussing the subject because modern feminism seems so protective of a woman's right to work. A woman wanting to work is very different than a woman needing to work. And is it helping modern women? I'm not sure. Now, before I get into my conversation, I want to make a couple of points clear when it comes to critical thinking principles. If I need a statistic to craft my narrative, I'm going to have to cite it and dictate it very clearly to you. Understand, it is not all men, it is not all women, it is average women in the United States, because that's the country that I'm going to be looking at today. Aside from that, understand that statistics can be used to craft whatever narrative you would like. And I'm going to be using them in the way that it's helped me logically come to a conclusion for myself, where I felt unfulfilled in the workforce. And what it ended up being was that I felt unfulfilled as a woman. And I wanted to have a better place in the home, and I wanted to work on my romantic life. And I've worked hard in many industries. I was even in the military. Yes, I am a veteran. I've even deployed. I've had sand in my boots. And I can tell you at the end of the day, nothing can replace a man holding you at night as you drift off to sleep. Moving on. If it's my opinion, then that's just what it is. That's what this channel's for. I'm just here to share my voice and to have a platform to tell women, hey, maybe this rat race isn't working for you. Maybe there's a different life available to you. So without any further hesitation, let's talk about it. I share similar experiences to other millennial women. I was taught how to be a good listener and a good student, but I wasn't taught much about what it meant to be a woman. But I do believe that Gen X mothers and baby boomer mothers failed to have many important conversations with these young girls about what their life could be like, what their desires might be, and how to create a path for themselves as they mature. These dialogues did not occur. I can tell you off the top of my head, most of my girlfriends have had that experience. And that experience being, you don't hear about how to be a wife, how to get a husband, what a good man is, and what being a good mother looks like. You don't get it, but what you get is a 5-year plan. Go get your degree. Go pursue that career. Get married when you're 30. You know what they don't say? It's actually very hard to get married when you're 30. I'm not saying don't go to school, don't go to work. I'm saying learn how to juggle. Because if you can't juggle, then you're not going to get what you're wanting. As a women's coach, I've been able to observe and deduce that these are the elements all women desire. It is the husband, the kids, the career, and the body. That's what women want. Most women can only have 2. Exceptional women can have 3, and anomalies can have all 4. That just means that you're going to want some very typical things, so let's work on it. And when I'm talking about average, there is sort of this false narrative you're fed as a young girl in the West, that when you grow up, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a scientist. And then you turn 25, and you start looking around, and you're like, wait a minute. None of these women are doing that. Obviously, there are women in STEM. I'm talking about in the broad spectrum. Not a whole lot of women are doing that. And so you start looking at the older women that were sharing this with you when you were younger, and you realize, oh, you haven't accomplished a lot professionally yourself. So why are they telling young girls to do this? It's out of fear. It's because maybe these women never learned how to depend on a good man. Or they never thought they would find a good man, but they knew they could get a job. A lot of women, if they're scared of romance and taking chances and getting hurt, they will get a job. But you're fooling yourself if you think that there is a path to long-term love that does not come with some fear. It is scary to put yourself out there and to hope to God that person wakes up every day for the rest of your life choosing you. When I talk to a lot of my female cohort, I'm realizing that a lot of these women are actually going to probably die alone. I realize that's harsh, but hear me out. When they tell me why they're postponing a relationship or children, I hear fear, I hear selfishness, I hear fear of childbirth. These women aren't even taught that our bodies are made for that. You are well within your rights to be afraid. It's a new thing. You've never done it before, but let it be known. The female human body was designed for birth. So if that's what's holding you back, understand in the West, we have very good medicine, and you can do that at a hospital. You can do that at a birthing center. There's no reason to be afraid if you have the education you need. The other piece I hear a lot is that these women want to work on themselves first. I believe that is an ignorant thought because the work on yourself is never truly done. Granted, if you have an overwhelming amount of trauma, yes, go get treatment. Try to get a clean bill of mental health so that way you can walk into a new relationship on a fresh step. But for a lot of these women that are afraid and they want to work on themselves, it's never going to stop. You're always going to need to improve, or else you're going to stagnate. And while you're waiting for the inevitable improvement that is never to come, men are passing you by, being a mother is passing you by. That might be worse than taking the chance. For me, it's clear. It's a clear decision for me because I know if I don't get married and I don't have children, it's going to hurt me more than if I don't do it. I would be absolutely devastated if I didn't do something like that with my life. That is what my dream is. My dream of being a wife and a mother is not considered honorable in the modern day and age. I find that highly offensive. I'm a very intelligent woman. It just is that this is the path that I want to take. But how many other women are out there like me? I think there are a few. And here is why. When women go into the workforce, we focus more on the jobs that make us happy versus the jobs that are going to pay us well. It is not illegal or challenging for a woman to get into STEM. I see all the time on campus, chalk written on the sidewalk, full of scholarships for women in STEM. There is no bar of entry preventing women from getting to STEM. Feminism is going to tell you otherwise. So when it comes to women pursuing education, we pursue things that we like. Education, nurturing roles, psychology. These will all inevitably lead you to a position where you perform professional mothering. And this is where I get confused. Why would you go to school and get into student loan debt, not pursue any romance, just so that you could nurture somebody else's child? And you're not getting paid well for this. If you want to look, now here are my statistics and they're coming. Here I have some figures that describe the top jobs that women pursue in the US. Elementary middle school teachers, registered nurses, secretaries, administrative assistants, nursing, psychiatry, home health aides, managers, customer service, accountants, auditors, cashiers. It goes on and on and on. It's either nurturing or it's a low responsibility job where you can socialize. These are either nurturing roles or low responsibility jobs. And a lot of these will not be careers. And I need women to understand there is a difference between a job and a career. A job is just what you're doing to do it while the time is passing. A career is something that you spend years building on. If you are fooling yourself into thinking you have a career and you've been job hopping, that is not going to help you as you age in life. That's fine, but make the conscious decision. It's different to be single by choice and to be single by necessity. Not the same. Looking at these jobs, that is professional mothering. We're going to look at this weekly earning that is $705 for a preschool and kindergarten teacher. Mind you, that's a high estimate. I worked in childcare. So if you take 705, multiply that by 4, that is $2,820 a month. Now, if you choose to work and be a mother, daycare for a newborn at a minimum is $1,000 a month. So we're going to take $1,000 off. And now you have $1,820, and that's before taxes. Is it worth it to go into a professional mothering job to be a mother on the side? You're going to be raising somebody else's kids. What's going to be happening with yours? And that's even if you decide to have kids. And I'll tell you this, it's going to be unpopular. This is an opinion. This is not a statistic. A lot of women that I know that pursue teaching with no romantic prospects, I believe, are searching for a maternal effect in their lives that they can't get otherwise. They don't have what it takes to date. They don't have what it takes to marry. And they don't have what it takes to accept the responsibility of having a child. Because these women, even if they didn't want a man, they could go to the sperm bank and they could find a donor. But they're not. They are trying to raise other people's kids and find personal fulfillment in that without addressing certain pathologies. I don't know that this is the best position to be in. But moving on, other reasons why I think women do not want to work. I think we want the opportunity to work. This is where feminists get mad at me. They think that because I don't believe most women want to work, that I'm not in support of a woman's right to work. I would never vacation in a country where women were not afforded the right to work. Usually these places are abysmal and very oppressive. I wouldn't feel safe there. I feel safe here in this country to do whatever I want, and I'm grateful for it. But that is a false source of contention. I believe in classical liberalism. That's not what we have today. Moving on, in terms of a wage gap, there is no wage gap. There is only an earnings gap. There is something to female nature that social science just keeps trying to solve. They want to solve for this thing that is woman. They want to solve for the fact that we have a uterus and that we're fertile and that we have a clock that's ticking. They want to solve for we're emotionally driven. They want to solve for we're going to pick jobs that make us happy. The jobs that make us happy do not pay as much as the jobs that men choose. We choose jobs that make us happy. These jobs pay less. Why do they pay less? Because it's not economically valuable. This is where I'm going to say capitalism does not value female work. Because predominantly female work is this administrative and nurturing stuff. If it's not going to be appreciated economically, wouldn't those talents be best invested in the home? Is my argument. I've seen women try to have it all. They burn themselves out. For me, this was a real experience. When I said that I served in the military, and actually I was sort of made to keep up with men, even though I knew that I couldn't, but that didn't sink in until years later. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't run as fast as the men, and they were just shouting at me. I had a hard time with that. Maybe the best use of my early 20s would have been trying to figure out what my life plan is, trying to better my mental health, and trying to get my romance life together. It's just some food for thought. Social sciences need to stop solving for the problem that is woman. You can't change us. We're born with the parts and we have to adjust accordingly. And that's not oppression. It could be liberation. Just tell young girls what their options are. Don't pigeonhole them into pursuing this career that's maybe never going to happen by 35. Make your choices. Just make them in an educated way. That way you can come out on top. I'm not going to sell you this lie. Society's going to conform to you. They're going to make it easy. No. We need to teach women how to live in the here and now and not in sociological theory. It's not going to work because last time I checked, I'm pretty much always going to have a uterus. I know that was kind of a real talk and it was kind of intense. So if you like my content, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe down below, and hit the notification bell. I so appreciate you guys. I am grateful that you chose to be here, and I'm not that far away from 100 subs, and I think that's really lovely, and I'll see you next week.